Welcome back to the American Family Survival Network. I'm your host, Jeffrey Snipes. This comes to us from the Patriot Network. Nyle Clay over at the Patriot Network sent this to us. This is called Cheap Tomatoes, and Nyle starts with friends and fellow Patriots. This is a must read, and certainly please share with as many as you can because time is short and every vote counts. Cheap Tomatoes. 900 teachers just got laid off from the Los Angeles Unified School District. There are $650,000 over their. They are $650,000 over their annual budget. The following comments by an English teacher help to explain one area that looms large over California's educational crisis. I hope each person receiving this mail will read it carefully all the way to the end. It is sad what is happening to our great country, all because our politicians are afraid they will miss out on a vote. What a travesty. This has got to be passed along to as many as possible, or we will all go down the drain because of a few that don't care. This English teacher has phrased it best, the best I've seen yet, and it should make everyone think, be you Democrat, Republican, or Independent. From a California school teacher, as you listen to the news about the student protest over illegal immigration, there are some things that you should be aware of. I am in charge of the English as a second language department at a large Southern California high school which is designated a Title I school, meaning that its students average in the lower socioeconomic and income levels. Most of the schools you are hearing about are Southgate High, Bell Gardens, Huntington Park, etc., where their students are protesting. These are also Title I schools. Title I schools are on the free breakfast and free lunch program. When I say free breakfast, I'm not talking about a glass of milk and a roll, but a full breakfast and cereal bar with fruits and juices that would make the Marriott proud. The waste of this food is monumental, with trays and trays of it being dumped in the trash uneaten. Our tax dollars at work. I estimate that well over 50% of these students are obese or at least moderately overweight. About 75% or more have cell phones. The school also provides daycare centers for the unwed teenage pregnant girls, some as young as 13, so they can attend class without the inconvenience of having to arrange for babysitters or having family watch their kids. More of our tax dollars at work. I was ordered to spend $700,000 on my department or risk losing funding for the upcoming year, even though there was little need for anything. My budget was already substantial, but I ended up buying new computers for the Computer Learning Center, half of which 1 month later were carved with graffiti by the appreciative students who obviously feel humbled and grateful to have a free education in America. More and more of our tax dollars at work. I have had to intervene several times for young substitute teachers whose classes consist of many illegal immigrant students here in the country less than 3 months who raised so much hell with the female teachers, calling them putas, which means whores, and throwing things that the teachers were in tears. Free medical care, free education, free food, free daycare, etc., etc., etc. Is it any wonder they feel entitled? Not only to be in this country, but also to demand rights, privileges, and entitlements. To those who want to point out how much these illegal immigrants contribute to our society because they happen to like their gardener and or housekeeper and they like to pay less for tomatoes, I say spend some time in the real world of illegal immigration and see the true cost. Higher insurance, medical facilities closing, higher medical costs, more crime, lower standards of education in our schools, overcrowding, new diseases, etc., etc., etc. For me, I'll pay more for tomatoes. Americans, we need to wake up. The guest worker program will be a disaster because we won't have the guts to enforce it. Does anyone in their right mind think they will voluntarily leave and return? It does, however, have everything to do with culture. A third world culture that does not value education, that accepts children getting pregnant and dropping out of school by age 15 and that refuses to assimilate, plus an American culture that has become so weak and worried about political correctness that we don't have the will to do anything about it. If this makes your blood boil, as it did mine, forward this to everyone you know, including your congressmen and senators. Cheap labor? Isn't that what the whole immigration issue is about? Business doesn't want to pay a decent wage. Consumers don't want expensive produce. Government will tell you Americans don't want the jobs, but the bottom line is cheap labor. The phrase cheap labor is a myth, a farce, and a lie. A farce and a lie. There's no such thing as cheap labor. Take, for example, an illegal alien with a wife and 5 children. He takes a job for $5 or $6 an hour. At that wage, with 6 dependents, he pays no income tax. Yet at the end of the year, if he files an income tax return, he gets an earned income credit of up to $3,200 free. Also, he qualifies for Section 8 housing and subsidized rent. He qualifies for food stamps. He qualifies for free, no deductible, no co-pay health care. His children get free breakfast and lunches at school. He requires bilingual teachers and books. He qualifies for relief from high energy bills. If they are or become aged, blind, or disabled, they qualify for SSI. Once qualified for SSI, they can qualify for Medicare. All of this at taxpayers' our expense. He doesn't worry about car insurance, life insurance, or homeowners insurance. Taxpayers provide Spanish language signs, bulletins, and printed material. He and his family receive the equivalent of $20 to $30 an hour in benefits. Working Americans are lucky to have $5 to $6 an hour left after paying their bills. And his, 13, the American taxpayers also pay for increased crime, graffiti, and trash cleanup. Cheap labor? Yeah, right. Wake up, people. These are the questions we should be addressing to the presidential candidates for either party. And when they lie to us and don't do as they say, we should replace them at once. This has got to be passed along to as many as possible. We must take action or we will all go down the drain because a few don't care. And if you think this is bad, just wait until Hillary becomes president and the redistribution of wealth becomes the norm in this ex-democracy. This will be passed on only by those Americans who truly care. Niles notes, over the years I've made the same statement as well as the same request several thousand times, and almost as many times it has been ignored. During the past I have spent many, maybe even thousands of hours doing research, observing news on TV, reading op-eds, and any other source of information available to me, and I just, for the life of me, can't understand how a lower-than-life proven criminal like Hillary Clinton can even be in contention for or such a popular candidate for the office of president. I have stated many times that we have a very complacent, apathetic, and disinterested population who isn't involved in our country's politics, and I have attributed this to education and lack of knowledge. We have, of course, a very poor education system, and that coupled with a very dishonest, corrupted, biased mainstream media, which only adds to the problem. So my fellow travelers, the only thing that is left is you and others who wish to save our country. So unless you are willing to just continue to whistle past the graveyard, which will soon become America, God forbid, you will share every vital piece of information with as many and as often as you can between now and Election Day in November. Nyle Clay, Matthew 16:26. Nyle, thank you so much for sharing this information with us. And folks, please get the information out there. Please like this video, share it with as many people as you can. And for all your family's survival and emergency needs, please go to the AmericanFamilySurvivalStore.com. And remember, protect and safeguard your family. Fear not. God bless. Thank you so much.